this week's edition of the Time Travel Theory. I am Matt Salzer. So in case you don't know what is important with this specific date that I'm posting this video, is because 5 years ago, the revival series Heroes Reborn made a debut, and it's also the awkward number of 14 years ago around this time Heroes made its debut. So for those of you who don't know, the idea was that Heroes was kind of X-Men-like in that it had actual superheroes with abilities. It was very in-depth. I cannot spend any one video talking about the overall story because it's so in-depth, but long story short, time travel was involved with a character named Hiro Nakamura. But before we go over some brief review, as I mentioned before in my videos, there are two types of time travel within science fiction. The first is the single timeline theory, where you're literally traveling within same timeline from point A to point B, and then there's the alternate timeline theory where you're jumping from your own timeline to another reality, creating another timeline entirely from which you cannot escape. The former would include franchises like Back to the Future, the latter would include franchises like the Terminator series, and the ones that have both would actually, interestingly enough, be Star Trek. Heroes is very interesting because primarily from the way things are, any time travel that's done to the past is not only the single timeline theory, but it is also the whole idea of traveling into the future. That's actually where most of the time travel takes place, going in and seeing alternate realities. In case you don't know, season 1 solely focuses on an alternate reality that's seen constantly where New York is blown up by a nuclear warhead. Actually not a nuclear warhead, someone literally blowing up because they have the power of a nuclear warhead. I should note that that's not the only disaster that they're able to prevent, but it's one of them. But then we have an even more complicated concept with the whole idea of being able to alter the future based on the past. This is explored in Back to the Future with the whole idea of going back in the past and creating an alternate timeline. Well, it's a similar thing going on here, except it's because of the fact that you were able to go to the future, see what's going on, and then go back to the past and alternate events, and then create the alternate timeline. Also, there is some time travel into the past which involves the whole predestination paradox, where you actually created something as a result of traveling back to the past, which actually influences your future. Loop-de-loop-de-loop. This is actually different because the past time travel is not altered in any way. That loop is sealed. However, as I mentioned, future time travel can help change the future, so it is still one alternate timeline. It gets a little complicated because they changed the timeline 3 or 4 times, and then just in the original show, and then they do it one more time in Heroes Reborn, which was the revival series. It was a good show for its time, and to be fair, the new series did have a merit to it in that it was trying to reboot it but still involved the old characters. There was just some stuff involved, and long story short, we will never really know what all happened with the series. Maybe we might see something in, maybe we might not. So yeah, that is Heroes on this anniversary of the series. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, comment down below what you would like me to do in future time travel theory installments. Just like a lot of stuff, I'm going to be taking a break this next month in order to focus solely on Halloween content, because that's something I like to do. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Matt Salzer. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.